I'll just put them in later.
Okay.
Just
Let
why not?
me update one little thing, and then we can switch. Um,
Password is
Ooh, it's warm
connected
up
to
here.
our email.
Ugh. Need a fan. It's my 33-month sub anniversary.
that's an oddly specific. Okay. Alright.
September. Oh, it's September.
Oh.
We should mention
Okay.
that.
September. Okay.
Because people get like. It, all subscriptions are like 30% off this month. So it'll be like $3.99 instead of $5 right now.
Okay, it should be that.
Okay. I'm ready whenever you guys are.
I'm going to share it with the social things.
Yeah. Also, I could have sworn I posted to like Twitter, but it's not there, and I don't know what happened. Our internet was being screwy like that day. I know the Facebook posted because Kelly or Ray reacted to it.
Profile is not linked to delegate page. Profile should always be linked to delegate page. I got an error sharing to Facebook.
What?
Like, what? It's been connected forever. Whatever. You know what? Why would I
Kinda
want to
weird.
share with a smaller crowd? Holy crap. So Twitter's added a feature like you want to not share with everyone, apparently.
Huh.
Uh,
Uh, Come on, socials, get your shit together. This is not okay.
Hold on. Let me see if I can get on here. Uh,
I'm gonna try Facebook again, see what happens.
hold on. I'm doing Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's acting like I'm not a manager of our page anymore.
That's weird.
I'll put it on my own damn page. Stop me. Yeah, it apparently thinks I'm not. What's VK? V contact contactee. Yeah, there's a weird social on here. I do not even recognize what that is.
There
Oh,
must
notes.
be some sort of permissions. We'll get that later.
okay, that's sad. I don't even know who my LiveJournal friends are anymore.
Last time I tried to go to LiveJournal, like I think everything was missing. I mean, it was just gone. So I'm like, oh, well, I guess fuck it.
I know I deleted my first one. This was the one I made when I was going to KSU for art. And it was gonna be my drama-free journal. But I'm like, I just got like, I guess one of my other friends also like just posted like, is anyone still here? I'm like, well, lucky.
And the thing was,
George R. R. Martin still uses LiveJournal.
there was something on it. I went there because there was a piece I had written that I wanted to look at. And it was like, oh, I guess it's all lost. I should check it
Yeah.
again.
I occasionally miss my original one, even with all the drama llamas. There's so many llamas. Oh,
Too
it
many
was
too many llamas.
well, it was the social media outlet that we had before some friends got a very bad divorce. So
Yikes.
it was gross.
Yikes.
Yeah. Yikes on
Oh,
trikes.
it's a little weird. Is LiveJournal does have to seem to have a fairly recent picture of me, and I'm not sure how that would have happened.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to make new passwords for... I know it's a weak password because it's just a forum.
All right, I'll give it a couple of moments and then we'll get started.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to episode 243 of Geek Girls, the Geek Girls podcast supported primarily by our patrons. You can find us at patreon.com/grills. I'm Linda and I'm joined by my co-host Ember.
Hello.
And Ray.
Ooh.
So today's topic, we're doing a book club. Hooray!
Ooh.
Our quarterly book club. Yeah, that's right, quarterly. So today we're discussing The Book Thief, and we'll get into that as soon as we get. Wow, my brain is not online yet. We'll get into that once we get through what we've been up to. Ember, you want to go first?
Sure. Let's see. Burlesque, the Big Mom Betty's last burlesque show, and then Digital Noir afterward was lots of fun. Wedding planning still going on. Taking care of things like, the groom's family covers the rehearsal dinner. And there's like 65 people coming to the rehearsal dinner. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Like, why? Why so many? But trying to get all that dealt with. And I'm going to be traveling to Raleigh tomorrow to go through pictures with them for slideshow. And I found out lasagna is their favorite food, so I'm going to make a lasagna while I'm there. And take them to pumpkin, like some decorations for the wedding I found at TJ Maxx. And what was the other? I don't know, just lots of more planning stuff. Oh, taking our sound system there so that we have room to fit all of us in our car when we go to the wedding. There's so many things. They've asked me to do the hand fasting part. They're including in the ceremony a hand fasting. So that's another thing I'll need to talk to them about, how we're going to do that, what kind of knot they want, how many people are going to be included in that bit. So that's neat. Yesterday, my middle son got his license, his driver's license. North Carolina's weird.
That's very cool.
Like, I took him to do his road test, and Billy's like, well, do you want a waiver? He's like, I go out in the lobby to call my insurance company so they can fax over proof of insurance for him. And I come back, and he's got the waiver. And she's filled out a few. Like, okay, well, you got your permit on June, this day, so you would write, I drove for this many hours at this time of day. And then, your person you drove with would put their name here. And then you would do this line with, I drove this many hours at this time of night. And you would need 50 hours of daytime and 10 hours of nighttime driving. And then you don't have to do a road test. She's like literally wink, wink, nudge, nudging him. And so we just went in the other room and filled out this imaginary driving log and went back in, and they issued him his license. Like,
okay.
What the hell? I mean, I knew they were doing this during the pandemic, and I knew they were doing it with, like, young drivers that are getting permits and licenses this way. But, I mean, with younger drivers, I figured, well, parents are more likely to be making them actually do the driving. But he's 21, and it could have been anybody. So, yeah. Now, that explains a lot about the horrible drivers around here. that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But he drove himself to work for the first time today, which was pretty cool. Last night, he ran to work so he will have driven that route in particular. And he's texting me, he's like, driving is sick. I could just, like, go somewhere when I want. Well, no shit. I've been telling you this for how long? I've been driving his ass to work for years. Like, whatever. But it's exciting. It's finally done. And so for the meetup and all that stuff when we go away, we don't have to worry about how he's going to get to work. And he can take his damn brother to work. And we don't have to, like, leave wherever we are to go pick him up in the evenings anymore. Like, I might go out for a beer tonight just because I won't have to leave.
Freedom!
Right? What have you been up to, Ray?
Not much. I did get together with my family, cause at the end of last week was my mom's birthday, and then this weekend's my dad's birthday. Raised by two Virgos. So we had a little get together over at their place to celebrate because mom turned 70. And it was nice. My husband even came, which is amazing because he hardly ever comes up when I do my monthly visits. So that was really sweet, and they were really happy to see him and just spend some time together. We picked up some games for the PlayStation 4. I have been told that I can just borrow Persona 5 from one of my other friends, which is apparently the game that will suck my life away. We haven't actually hooked it up yet, so I guess that's probably next. And yeah, just caught up on all the on the nerdy shows, and that's it. How about you, Linda?
Well, we went over the weekend to go visit my cousin. He is living by himself now. He's in, it's not assisted living. It's not right. Subsidized. He has a disability, but he's able to live on his own. And it's the first time I'd actually been over to his apartment. It's a cute little place. But it's like a 1-bedroom kind of place, and it's down in Stockbridge. I got mad at my aunt for a couple of things. I don't want to really get into it because I don't need to air my family's dirty laundry on the podcast, but woof. But my cousin's doing okay. You know, he's always kind of a ball of sunshine. Says a lot of random things that he doesn't mean, but it's endearing. Went to market day. It's all right. I'm thinking probably once it gets into be fall proper, you know, more people will want to buy crochet things. I've been doing some crocheting this week to try and like, build my stock back up. So it was still a little thin after, you know, MomoCon and getting hurt. So I was just gonna do plushies, but then as I was cleaning, you know, and organizing craft room, I actually found a bunch of projects that were like almost done. They were like 75 to 80% done, and I just finished them so I could take them with me. So I've got these 2 shawls. One is like this black with roses on it. One is just this kind of like maroon shawl. I've got, it's on the other side of the mannequin right now, but there's like a little wall hanging I've made. It's like a little heart. That's like you can just hang up. But then in the realm of like bags and plushies, I've made, you know, another mushroom bag. I've made a cupcake, chocolate this time. I made a plushie cupcake. I think the colors are throwing me off. I mean, it kind of looks like a Lego head, but you know, it's fine. It's a cupcake. It's whatever. This little owl I've made.
Aw.
Looks
And
very
also,
surprised.
yes, it didn't look that surprised in the book I'm making it out of. I don't know where it went. But like, I can't explain it. I have this like book of tiny amigurumis, and I found the pattern. I was like, here, let me make that. That's cute. But in the actual book, he doesn't look so shocked. Like he looks okay. And maybe it's just the color. It's the color of the eyes or something. Because
I think it might be
in
because
the
they're
original,
lighter.
yeah, in the original, they're a nice yellow, and I've made them pure white, and so he looks very shocked. And then I accidentally made a gigantic bumblebee. I didn't mean to make him this big.
Oh no!
Oh
He
wow!
looks so cuddly.
All right.
Yeah, it's a very cuddly bumble. Um, I meant to make him over large because I was using big yarn. Um, but as I'm like crocheting out the rounds, I was like, oh, this is getting to be very quite large, quite okay. Well, I'm halfway done now. Best keep going. Um,
We're committed now.
we're committed now. I've put work into this, so yeah, he turned out very very cute.
Sure.
And so he's like the size of a small dog. Um, and that's fine. So that's just a random assortment of things I have made this week. I was very productive, but only because most of them were half done.
You also taught me on on Sunday how to do basic chaining and single crochet again because it's been years.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
Ah,
Alright. So, now we're gonna get into book club.
What's happening?
So,
Okay.
we have read The Book Thief by Markus Zusak. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Zusak. It's a book that's set in just before and into World War II. And it's first narrated by Death.
Yes.
threw me initially because I'm
Yeah.
like, what? What?
I
It's
really
very-
like it. I think that's one of the most interesting things about the book. Like, I've read plenty
Well,
of
it's very
World War II setting stories, right?
Mhm.
And they have a lot of common threads, but that being narrated by Death is very
Mhm.
interesting, and his style of writing being
it's
like, what's the
It's
word
like-
for it? Where he's using
I don't I
colors
it's almost
and
yeah, it's almost
objects
inhuman.
as
Like
are anthropomorphized and stuff.
it's like slightly. I mean, and if you're thinking about it being from that perspective, it's slightly inhuman because it's from Death's perspective. So it's very interesting. It's very I couldn't help the the main character's name is Liesel, and all I can think of is the Sound of Music. Because that's the only other thing I've ever seen where they have a character named Liesel. So that girl who played Liesel is stuck in my head whenever I'm reading.
Picturing.
Yeah, whenever I'm picturing. But it's fine. Who says it wasn't what she looked like,
And once in a while, Death says something like quirky or like almost snarky or just like humans. Like you just kill me sometimes, and I'm like, oh my god, it's almost like it verges on a Monty Python moment now and again, where it's like, is this gonna go sideways and get funny?
I mean, that would have been an interesting, way to do it.
And I was worried. I
Bring
did
a
watch
little
the movie as
happiness.
well, and it's quite well done. And as I thought it might, it focuses very much on. I mean, because you could not put every detail of the book, obviously, but that they kept Death's narration in at least a little bit, like kind of just at the beginning and the end, because they could have completely wiped it out and just
Mhm.
made it Liesel's story and Max's story. But my husband actually stayed up like past his bedtime, was really engaged all the way through and watched the movie with me, which is unusual for him. Like, he will just fall asleep if he's got to. And so that was another little a way for me to judge, because I read the book and watched the movie so close together, and that's hard. I'm really good at separating media as like, I mean, it was fine, or they were both good, but they had necessary differences. But I was so close to it because I was actually not quite done with the book when I watched the movie, and then I finished the book the next day anyway, because I was just so engaged with the book and enamored of this guy's writing style, that I wanted to finish it. And there are very few things in the movie I did not like. Like, there was some... So there's a character, they're hiding a Jew in the basement. And in the book, there's a very long journey, like, that Max goes through to get to Liesel's place. And, I mean, he's, like, starving in basements in the dark for weeks and weeks at a time before he even gets there. And they kind of just skip that. Like, he's being... I can only take one of you, rescued from his house before the SS gets there, and then he shows up at their door and he's like falling down, and there's like, the movie doesn't give any credence or any explanation of how hard this journey he was just on was. They kind of skip it. And
I mean,
I was not keen on that.
I guess they tried to show with like, oh, suddenly he swoons. That was so difficult.
Yeah.
They could have spent 5 minutes on that.
Yeah.
I kind of figured, like, oh, it's a World War II movie. You kind of know if you've read any books about it. But then again...
They could have done They could have done like a tiny montage.
Or makeup, so he didn't show up and look pretty.
Yeah.
So pretty.
That was a little unexpected, too.
But I will confess, I have not finished the book, as per normal. I did read the book, I did watch the movie, and I was listening to it on audiobook, which is the reason I think I didn't like the death narration, because the audiobook was kind of, I don't know. It was a teacher who was reading to her class, so it was a little weird.
Yeah, that is a little weird. And there are a lot of visual things in that book that are not going to work in an audiobook format, because there's the process of him writing it, and the death narration is just kind of like at the beginning of each chapter or in the middle of something. It'll be like a quick explanation of this and just like 3 lines of that point of view, and then it goes back into the story. And there are things where books that Max creates for Liesel, and that's a really neat thing in this book, where he paints over the pages of Mein Kampf to create because he needs to give her a present, and he writes this book.
Yeah.
And they totally skipped that. The first book in the movie, they just made it all into one thing, but that was fine. It worked. But the pages of that book with the drawings of himself and her as birds, and the perception in the book where she was still too shy to talk to him, she was, after they got him cleaned up, she was telling her father, like, Papa, his hair looks like feathers. And Max had overheard it. So when he creates this book for Liesel, in the book itself, they put those drawings. That art was created of those books. And I don't know how that'll come across in an audiobook. Like, there is a picture here, crudely drawn with a small paintbrush.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do in that medium.
I'm proud I actually read it, but because I had a hard time picking it up, and I got it from the library, and it's like, I gotta make the time, and doing these book club episodes has been like part-time gamers, it's like, I have to do my homework so I get to play games, and for our book club, it's like, man, I need to be reading more. I hadn't read anything in so long, and I was like, but once I picked it up, it grabbed me. The writing style this guy uses, and the library copy I got has an interview in the back of it with him where he talks about
Oh.
the process, which was really cool. And the only thing I haven't read in it is it's the clay something, the clay men. I don't know. There's an excerpt from another of Mark Zusak's book, in the back of this copy of the Book Thief I got from the library. So I am going to read that, and consider picking up another of his books based on, because I mean it could have been a fluke, right?
Yeah.
That I
You
like
have to
this
read
so
more
much.
of his stuff.
And
You have to read more of
especially,
his stuff.
yeah, seeing the interview about how the changes. This interview, he also puts in an afterword, pictures of his process. You can see how he outlined it and the initial, what the chapters were named and changes he was making and stuff he shuffled around. And I was super fascinated looking through that. And how he, consciously developed certain stylistic parts of it. So I'll see. I might read more of him, and report
Well,
back.
So
yeah, I was gonna say you could put another book on our list.
Yeah, if
all
it's
right.
good.
So in the movie, they make a big deal about like the first book the book she grabs from the pile is The Invisible Man. Why was that burned? Like, why was that part of
And that wasn't the
the?
book that it was in the book. In the book,
See,
it was
that's
The
what
Shoulder
that's what.
Shrugged, which was written with a Jewish protagonist in that book.
Okay. Because I was like, why the Invisible Man? That seems random.
Yeah, I don't
Okay,
know.
so in the book it's the shoulder shrugged. Okay.
Yeah, and it's explained, and
Um,
they talk about it like this was this great book, and you know, it was easy to see why they burned it because the protagonist is a Jewish person and they're painted in a positive light. So that, yeah, they made it the Invisible Man was really weird.
It was very like I'm literally racking my head. I'm like, what? H.G. Wells? No, I know. Why? Why?
it, it,
Very
they
confused.
they picked it for the movie because people know what it is.
Yeah,
I
but
guess.
if it doesn't fit the context of being a banned book, then it's pointless.
Yeah.
I
I,
ah.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm saying maybe I don't know. They probably picked it because it's like, oh, it's obviously something that they wouldn't have wanted instead of maybe doing some research or finding the actual book or making a prop. Make a prop.
Seriously,
Well, and
keep our
yeah,
prop makers
they
busy.
changed a lot of,
I
the
was
books
really
she
confused.
stole, which, considering the whole thing is like
It's
actually
called
That's kind of
called the
important.
Book
Yeah.
Thief,
it's called the book thief.
right?
Like as soon as
And
I
this,
saw that in the movie, I'm like, well, crap. Now I can't trust anything. And I even tried to look it up on the Wikipedia, and nobody goes into like the differences between the books in the book and the books in the movie. And I'm like, grumpy.
and I'm looking for it, and yeah, they could have made a prop because I'm looking. The Shoulder Shrug isn't an actual book. It was made up. Because that's the other thing I was wondering. I was like, maybe they didn't have the rights to use the title. Maybe whoever made the movie owns the Invisible Man or whatever.
Maybe.
But then there's like the Dreaming, like all the books in the Book Thieves that are mentioned. I don't know which are real and which are not real. But if you look up the Shoulder Shrug, all the
It
references
just
that
comes
come
up
up
with the
are
book
it's
thief.
from the Book Thief.
Yep.
So there is no reason they could have just used that.
Make a prop.
Seriously, you could just have a book cover, or I know people who make books like the book cover. Ah,
I don't know.
that was just a really weird thing. And now I'm looking up the list of the books that they wanted burned.
You know,
So
why not?
apparently,
Why
Invisible
not?
Man has been. People have tried to ban
Has
it.
been on the list. Okay. Because it's like,
Wait, but that's no Ralph
But why?
Ellison's, not H.G. Wells'
Okay.
version. So what the? I don't know.
Maybe somebody looked up like what books have been banned that are like real world, and they saw the Invisible Man, but they were like, "Oh, it's obviously this Invisible Man."
I just remember it was Invisible Man. It might have been.
No, she
I
says
don't
H.G.
remember it
Wells
in the
because
movie.
I was
She
like,
says H.G.
that's a
Wells.
weird
That's
thing
what I
to do.
thought.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah,
All
because
the
the
book
Invisible
changes
Man
were weird. The relationship with
by
the mayor's
Ellison
wife changing was weird.
obviously wasn't until 1952. Yeah, what was up with her? Because I don't know. She comes off as sympathetic-ish for the most part in the movie.
Yeah,
In
and
the
she is, but the relationship is much more complicated and tumultuous um, in the book, where it, because Liesel is first scared because the mayor's wife saw her steal
grab
the
the
book
book.
from the fire,
Yeah.
and she's like super paranoid about it. And then it turns out the mayor has the mayor's wife has this giant library and invites Liesel in, and the description of it in the book of her walking down the shelves and just running her fingers along it in this enamored like, oh my god, there are so many books. I touched me in such a way because I just have this vivid memory of when my son Connor was little. I remember taking him to the library, and I think he was like 5 because it was at the old library here we used to have that's now a tax office. And I remember him just started running up and down, running his fingers along the books, going, books, 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 like he was so excited. And it's like that girl getting so excited about there being so many books really reminded me of that. But the mayor's wife invites Liesel in and lets her read, and while she's picking up and delivering laundry that Liesel's mother does for the mayor's wife. And
I was reminded of Beauty and the Beast, actually.
yeah,
The big library opening.
Yeah.
Anyway.
yeah. But it takes a weird turn later where, because the mayor's wife also is always like quiet and not talking and sitting in the freezing cold all through the winter. She always has the window open. It's always cold, but she's kind of like punishing herself over the loss of her son, who went off to war and died. And a lot of the books were his. And when the mayor has to fire Liesel's mom from doing laundry, Liesel just kind of loses her shit on the mayor's wife and starts telling her off and like for her self pity and punishing herself, and just calls her out on that and storms off, and then ends up going back and sneaking in the window and stealing books again and again. And then at one point the mayor's wife like leaves a dictionary and thesaurus leaning up against the window. And it's like, and cookies on the desk. Like, I see you. I know you're here. And at some point, finally writes her a letter. Like,
Yeah.
I hope someday you can come to the door. You called me out, but you were right, and you could just come to the door like a civilized person. And Liesel still doesn't. She still keeps just fucking stealing them. It's really weird. But
That childhood petty moment.
yes, it is. It is so petty. But like it's a weird thing to her where, and I find that interestingly described in the book too, where she doesn't feel like she deserves to go and ask and sit and read, but if she steals it, she feels like she earned it somehow.
Okay, so apparently, going back to H.G.
Okay.
Wells, apparently, H.G. Wells was considered part of the works of traders, immigrants, and authors from foreign countries who believe that they can attack and delegate the new Germany. Like, H.G. Wells is listed as well as Raman Roland. So I guess that was right. Okay, fine.
Okay.
That is historically accurate, I suppose. I
Okay,
just
fine. We'll let it pass.
It
We'll
just
let
took
Right.
me out of the moment of the movie. I was just very confused by it.
Also, I forget that I H.G. Wells is from the 30s. Like I literally forget
Yeah,
that sometimes.
Okay,
Like
well then I guess maybe that's even better than using a fictional book
yeah.
and having
It's
people
just,
go look for
again, it
something
just
that
kind of
doesn't exist, like I did.
it did kick me out enough because I was like, I don't remember that book being, but I guess that would show the random arbitrariness of the books that they were burning and what they just randomly decided was against their new Germany. Blech.
And on that note, honestly, it was disturbing to read this that was written in 2015. Um, given the tack of so much since like after that, right? Like
Yeah.
since right after that, all the things that people say and have been banning, and like even today, all the stuff that's going on in Louisiana and Florida, and the fights we're having, and it's just like, folks, we've seen this before. How do you not see that this is this problem? Like these cries of racist bullshit and banned books and, oh, you can't trust the media. I mean, it's like playbook.
Yeah.
Playbook. Just wow. And first,
I'm just glad.
America
I'm just
first.
glad
Like
there
these
are some.
people don't
Blah.
recognize dog whistles, really?
Yeah,
Ugh.
but I am glad that there is the class of folks that are like, oh, there's a banned book list. Here, let me go look up all of those books. Let
Yeah.
me go look them up and
Oh,
see what
absolutely.
why is it so bad? I must educate myself to see why this banned book is so bad.
Yeah. Do they not understand? Like, that's gonna. I don't
It's
know.
just encouragement. It's just encouragement. we have we have
Except for the
more
parents
than
that are
one.
like actually teaching their kids that it is bad, and like the
We have more than one generation now that are petty. And they'll just go read them just to be petty.
It's just, yeah, it's really weird because I'm like, I like some of those banned books were like books I had to read in school or
yeah.
books that I did like I just found in the school library on my own, like The Color Purple. I, dude, that book like that hit something. Like that was like a shift in my like how I perceived stuff. And I'm like, it's banned. Like why? Why would you ban it? I
Why?
mean, I get why, but no.
Well, and
But
Catcher in the
no.
Rye,
Yeah.
because oh my God, it's got the F word, and like the fight I know I've told the story before because they were trying to remove "I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings" from my kids' school's curriculum.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I,
no.
I read that in middle school. Like, I didn't like it that much. Like, it was okay, but I don't see any reason to ban it.
You're gonna ban The Color Purple, but still make us read Lord of the Flies? I hate you. I hated that book so much. It was torture having to read it.
And that's to say, like, some books you'll like, some you won't, and that's kind of always how it is. And
I mean, that's the point.
yeah,
They're like, try these books. Some of them you'll like, some of them you'll feel like clawing your eyeballs out.
some of them you'll just find yourself sighing the entire time through The Great Gatsby.
Yes. Oh my god, that also. I mean, I understand why we had to read it, but also during the entire time we read that book, I was like, really? What? Sir. So, yeah, don't ban books. Don't. Just don't.
Yeah, right? I mean, in some irony, Germany did ban Mein Kampf for a long time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like they gave the
Man.
copyright to Bavaria and nobody would print it, but that ended I think in 2016. Oh gosh. Now we know where all those people got their playbook. Oh, sorry.
I will say on that same note, I don't like that book. But it did give me, when I saw people in my school reading it, like a big like warning sign about them. I'm not gonna lie.
I am actually curious
Just
to read it. Apparently
Sleep.
it entered the public domain in 2015 and I am curious. Um I I feel like I would necessarily be disgusted. Just the title itself is offensive. Knowing
I just don't.
like for someone for his point of view writing about my struggle. Like dude.
I
Mhm.
just I just don't feel like reading the ramblings of a narcissist. I don't.
Yeah, I can go on social media when I want to hear white men bitch about how hard their life is.
Uh-huh.
That's all I'm gonna say about that.
it's so hard to understand how that it I don't know. I don't understand what people find charismatic sometimes at all. Like how the hell is
No.
uh, it's like
Hmm.
mass hysteria. It's mass hysteria.
Yep. So
Anyway, rolling back
back
around
to
to
the book.
Yeah, anyway, at the end of the book, the one Max does write, another one is kind of like an alternate making they make fun of Hitler a lot.
They do. I appreciate that. So Max like makes her a couple books. You
Yes.
said that's cool. Yeah, in the
Yeah,
movie
the
it's
thing
kind of just implied
they
it's
did
just that
where
one.
in the movie where he made her a journal,
Hmm.
it was actually he kept a journal and wrote a lot of things for her and about her, like a whole little book, and left it with when um, he left it with Rosa, her mother, to give to Liesel when she was old enough. And then, little while down the road, after some more shit goes down, Rosa gives it to her, like, I think you're ready. I think you've always been ready for this. And, like, gives her this other book that Max had left, this journal that Liesel had seen part of by, and felt bad for looking and was a little scared by when she was younger because it was Hitlery stuff. So, yeah, it's really, really good. I mean, yes, it was an absolutely fine movie. Like I said, even my husband loved it. But the book is absolutely worth reading.
Worth picking up. Okay.
Yes, I am so glad I read the whole thing. Yeah, even after watching the movie, I was like, I could have cheated. I heard a description of what a book club is recently, where it's like people get together and drink wine and pretend they read a book. And I know that is super accurate often. Um,
I'm here for the people who don't always get to read the books. No,
yes,
I'm kidding.
yes. Very seldom do I get to actually finish it, but boy, this one, it was one of those. I stayed up late and I got up early because I wanted to get back to it. So it's like almost 500 pages, I think, and I got it through in a couple days.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. Yeah, I'm reading another book right now, so I was juggling. And it was very interesting. I did like the little illustrations, and it actually kind of, strangely enough, the little like annotations reminded me of the other book I'm reading, which is it's translated from a Chinese online novel. Um, and there's a lot of idioms in there that they have to kind of like make notes for at the bottom to translate of like this is this idiom that normally means this, so I'm not just looking at a random set of words going what. And it reminded me of that, actually, strangely enough. because they were like, this aside to explain this thing, and then you get back into it. So
Oh
Yeah.
gosh. Now I'm thinking of oh god, what is that? The 9.5 minute hallway. That giant book that I also still haven't finished yet. Um, it's the freaking surrealist book that's written by Poe's brother, and it's gonna come to me as I'm Googling it. I
Oh, wow.
know. 9.5 minute high.
I mean,
God,
that'd be an interesting title. Just
it's. I know when I say it, everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, that book," and I just have to find it again. House of Leaves.
I was gonna suggest that because that's the only surrealist book that I know of.
Because there's like there's like three stories within that one book, and one of them is just in the liner notes. And ah, I'm gonna finish it someday because I freaking love that album that is loosely connected with that book that Poe did. So
Yeah, I feel like I got a little momentum in reading now, and maybe I'll actually get back into Will Wheaton's book, because except the format. Well, actually, what I'll probably do is pick that up in Dead Tree version when I'm in Asheville, because I know Malaprops carries it. Because I've got a digital one, but it's the advanced copy they gave me when I did the interview, so it's like a huge pain in the ass to read, because it's just the old book, but then you have to like click on every footnote to get his annotation, which takes you to a different section, and then you got to go back, and it's really annoying to read electronically. I'm not having it.
that's fair.
But maybe I'll get back into Obama's book in the meantime, because I put that down probably 2 years ago when my friend Ken released some white guy's book, and I never got back to it. Half finished
Yeah, I'm just
books
thinking of my little
plague me.
end table just covered in them. Yeah. I used to be so much better about getting books done.
Me
And that's
too.
why we have book club.
That's why we have book club.
Because at least one of the three of us will read it.
Alrighty. Well, if any of you want to tell us if you have read the book thief or books that you would suggest for us to read, you can always chime in by emailing us at geekgirls@gmail.com. You can also tweet us at geekgirls. We're getting through our list, so we need more suggestions. So drop us a line. Tell us books to read. We'll read them eventually, once the die has decided it's time for them to be read.
The power of the die.
We'll roll the dice for the next book at the end of this. So what are y'all most anticipating right now? What you, Ember?
Well, heading to Raleigh tomorrow, like I said. More wedding stuff. Making the lasagna, and super hyped for TMS Asheville. Oh, it's gonna be awesome. I wish you guys could be there. If you can get there, I can get you a room. I'm gonna say that. We can figure that out, because we ended up with some extra spots, and I paid a bunch extra to bring the price down for everybody, so fuck it.
Well, they.
But I've got some friends coming now too, which is like this guy I've gone on a few dates with, and he's bringing someone, and my girlfriend Tony's coming, and like it's gonna be like half Tadpool from all over the country and half a bunch of my friends. All right. But Scott Johnson's gonna be joining us for a live stream, and I got all this cool swag to give away, and for some reason Coverville sent me a big picture of his face that he just like put on the swag, so when I opened up the box, it was this goofy face that is also one of their emotes, but I'm gonna put it on a stick because he can't make it to the live stream, so he's gonna make it whether he likes it or not. But
oh my gosh,
yeah, I'm super excited for that. That's September 9th and 10th, and anybody who wants to message me can find me easily, and maybe I can get you in. We have a few more days to get that sorted.
What about you, Ray?
I am signed up to give blood tomorrow. The double thing, so they can't bother me for 3 months. No, if you're, I think it's if you're O negative or O positive, it's basically a way for you to give like double the plasma,
Hmm.
and you get to keep your platelets and everything. So, one day I'll try and be brave and do platelet donation, but I read that like one of the requirements is you cannot have been exposed to tuberculosis, which if that is one of them, I'm out because I did that and had to do that whole like 8 months, and then they're like, oh, they gave you the wrong medication. Here's the other medication for another 6 months, and do not recommend. Like, take it. Take your medicine. It's free. Most of the states will make sure that you get that medicine for free because it is a pain in the butt and nobody wants anyone spreading tuberculosis. But I need to get brave and like talk to them about that because. And then hopefully maybe I'll be able to do a hike or skating or something over the long weekend. And then that same Saturday we're having a crafting day, which my crafting will either be trying to figure out how to make knots in yarn or trying to make knots in thread. Crochet or embroidery, one of those two knotting things.
Knots will happen. It'll be very
Knots.
naughty.
It'll be very naughty, and it's fine because I'll be mostly my right arm, and my left arm is the one that they always poke for veins, so it'll be good.
It's fine. It's just one arm that's going to be in
It's
pain.
fine. Honestly, it doesn't really hurt me that much. Like the what gets me the most is I have to have a drink with me, because otherwise I'll start to pass out. So I always have to have it. Like I have to be like I have to keep drinking, please. And they're usually okay if you give them the heads up. Like they don't want you passing out either. So
Yeah, no.
Right.
You're like,
I have to
pardon me.
I have to
Pardon
eat a big
me.
meal. I always drink a crap ton of water, and I have to drink water the entire time. Otherwise, yeah. But that's me. How about you, Linda?
Don't pass out. Let me see.
Machine lets you know if you're about to. It starts beeping as you're starting to get the blackness.
Yeah, that's true.
From experience.
Great. Yeah, no, I'm also looking forward to the crafty day. Obviously, I'm going to be making stuff for the next market day, which is in not this Sunday, but next Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And just making more of the crochet stuff. Look, as we were talking, I got half a ladybug done. Granted, it was also almost done. That I wasn't fibbing. I was working on it, but I didn't start it during this. I'm quite thoroughly finishing it. I'm also kind of hoping it'll be nice and quiet at work next week because we have the day off on Monday, and most of the doctors want to take like an entire week off when there's a big holiday. So a lot of the doctor's offices are closed.
I will say that at my job it always get like as soon as Wednesday hit it was like half the volume.
Mm-hmm.
So like I got a ton of stuff caught up. So I'm hoping that carries over at least until maybe next Wednesday, and then things can explode with
Yeah.
what do you mean so and so didn't do this right?
Well, we have either when holidays like this come up, we either have the thing where nobody wants to go to the doctor because they all want to go on vacation, or everybody wants to go to the doctor because then they want to go on vacation. So we have had in this same Labor Day span of time, we've had both nothing like very low numbers and also record high numbers. So at the beginning of this past week, I didn't know if I was going to be dead or fine.
That's fair.
But it turned out okay. So there's
Cool.
that.
Well, remember, folks, you can always come watch us record live at twitch.tv/geekgrills on most Monday evenings. Our next one will be on September 12th at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll post our schedule with our topics for next month after our production meeting on the 5th.
And remember, in addition to subs and bits that we get on Twitch, we are supported by you, our amazing patrons. You're the greatest girlfriends on the internet. You can become a patron at www.patreon.com/grills. And if you have Amazon Prime, you can sub to us for free every month on Twitch.
Way to show your support is by leaving us a review. You can do so on any of your podcast catchers. You can check out what topics we're going to do next month on our schedule below on our Twitch page once we get it filled out. And if you're a patron, you can always suggest a topic for us. We will do it. And we'd love to hear your ideas.
Please.
Please. So where can we find you on the interwebs? Amber?
Best thing to do is go to 9of12.com. That's NINEOF12.com.
You can find me on Instagram under DappleDame.
And you can find me on Instagram under the name madcap_misc, that's MISC. And you can check out my website at madcapm.com. Thanks for listening, everyone. Good game.
GG.
GG.
Stop it.
Oh.
Cat. Sorry.
What the
Sorry,
hell?
my cat literally just knocked over boxes
Oh,
so he
no.
could get to the sweet, sweet tape.